Welcome to Twin Ring Motegi for the second round of the second season of the ERL INDYCAR series as the drivers come across the start-finish line to start their lap around the pace car. It's Linus Eriksson, the Swedish driver, starting this race from the front from Carson Thornberg and Prix, and the top two were actually separated in qualifying by only about a tenth of a second. You can see that the halo has been mandated after another scary airborne crash in our Formula E series. And that's the main reason why we've decided to bring back the halo. Then Sebastian Messian is behind Tommy from Mickey Ongurovich, who starts in 6th position. Then it's Marcus Nelson and RQ Lil Buns behind him. Then it's TJ Davis, Francis Austin, David Camino, Max Bortka, Niven Colby, Devin Butler, Milsos Micah, the only man to start this race on the hards. Then Davi Circarero, Dan Sanchez, Ghosted, Salos Kynes, Elliot Deli, and Hexel Mark, the 22 drivers to start this race. There will be 12 racing laps as the drivers head under the bridge. The reason we don't run on the oval part of this track, well, honestly, don't really know. We've just kind of decided to use the Grand Prix layout instead of the oval. But Eriksson, the man, will be leading us in this race. Certainly happy to be at the front of the pack this time. His team, our McLaren SP, certainly needs some good news today. On board we go with the 8. He's got a face full of safety car right in front of him. It's a very long lap, this one. And in fact, recently they remodeled the final chicane to be closer to the one that is used in the Formula E series, which also got remodeled quite recently. But heading into the long left-hand turn, which at first glance you probably could do flat out, but then you actually get to it and you realize, no, you have to brake. Then you head down the hill, and here's the remodeled section of the track as the pace car will pull into the pits at the end of this lap. It's a lot less sharp now, and also it's cambered inwards on the first turn, outwards on the second. As they round the final turn, Linus Eriksson will lead us to green here in Japan for the Indy 300 Japan at Twin Ring Motegi. Boogity, 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 let's go racing drivers! Heading down into turn number 1. The gaps up front remaining relatively similar. On board we go with the 97 of Carson Thornberg. He needs to close up to the back of Eriksson, and he's doing just that roughly. It's about under half a second behind the McLaren in front. He's actually under 0.3 of a second behind as Elliot Deli getting a track limits warning. He's going side by side with drivers behind. Heads through this hard right-hand turn rather, and close to the wall. That was David Camino. How are these guys keeping it out of the barriers? I don't know, but they're remaining single file here in Twin Ring Motegi. On board we go with Prix. Pulls to the inside. Thornberg does the same, and he drives around the outside of Carson. What a move from the 99, and he's going alongside with Carson Thornberg still as they rise up the hill. What a move from Prix, and he's going to have to hold that line because Thornberg is hogging the inside. Does Prix relent his position? He doesn't. He sends it down the inside and finishes off the Chip Ganassi driver up into second position for Prix. What a move! That was absolutely brilliant as they go on to start lap number 3. He's got the fastest lap too, a 1:16.516. He's going to have push to pass on this lap. Doesn't try and go down the inside though. He's still right up to the back of Linus Eriksson in front as they rise their way through the opening sector of turns. On paper, they look like they're effectively just the same turn repeated, but with the elevation change, it's always constantly folding back on itself. So around the start of the second sector as Eriksson track limits warning, you can see why drivers are getting them. They go so far off the track. And Salos Kynes, he didn't get a good start. He's dropped to 22nd in last with Deli right in front. He got a face full of sparks as well. Quee's not close enough to the back of Ericsson to try and do that ballsy overtake again. INDYCAR, however, alongside with Marcus Nelson, side by side and up into 9th position for the Andretti driver. Started this race in 18th, I believe. Is that Nelson? That's Marcus Nelson! What a move from the other hyperdrive car! And that's you trying to send it down the inside as well. He makes the pass. My goodness. Who gave them testicles made out of pure tungsten, mate? That's absolutely insane what these guys are doing. These moves made in the final sector of this track here in Twin Ring Motegi. Absolutely magnificent to see here in the ERL INDYCAR series. And the soft tyres, by the way, you can see them blistering quite a bit. The top 3 separated by just under a second. Looking back with Linus, and it's a 3rd track limits warning. Certainly many others getting track limits warnings heading through here. On board with Austin, who gets a 5-second time penalty for track limits. And I wouldn't be surprised if other drivers did the same. As side by side, Thornburg. Kynes gets a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision. Thornburg takes the lead here in Twin Ring Motegi. On board with Oakwee, following in the slipstream of Ericsson and Thornburg in front. He's going to need a lot more than that to get past. Ericsson goes to the outside of the Chip Ganassi man and reclaims the race lead. He's going for the Grand Slam today as they head through the final chicane. We expect some of these drivers to come into the pits very soon as Quee's dropped to 4th. He's behind Tommy. And he comes in. He's the first man to come into the pits. New soft tyres going on. They've signed Quee to the 2-stop strategy at this point. Because look at the state of Tommy's softs. There's just no way that you're going to make it to the end. A little bit of frame stutter happening as Little Buns fighting with Sebastian Messian over 5th position as they rise up the hill. On board we go with Tommy in the number 45 Revolution Racing car. Getting himself as close as possible to the guys right in front of him. And we've got a full course yellow. That's Linus Ericsson! Oh my goodness! Tommy got spun airborne. Gurovic has got a time penalty for causing a collision. Thornburg is leading. We just about saw that. And Mickey on Gurovic is hit by Davi Cerquera. Oh my goodness, what is happening here in Twin Ring Motegi? Oh my... Well, Gurovic is out. Micah had Gurovic absolutely just fly on top of his car. You can see why we've got the halo implemented. Sebastian Messian is up in 2nd, and Tommy doesn't have a front wing. Cerquera is now at the back of the pack. And on lap 5 of 13, Linus Ericsson, the man who started this race on pole, is out, and Carsten Thornburg is leading, and he doesn't even have damage. So all I can interpret from that is that it was just Ericsson with an honest-to-God mistake there, as down the inside comes an RQ, the 2 Hong Kong drivers going side by side, and Tommy's going to have to relinquish that fight. There's just no way that he can fight it. Sebastian Messian leads as Carsten Thornburg pulls into pit row. Half race distance will be surpassed on this lap. On board with TJ Davis, looks to the inside of Marcus Nelson, has to swing out wide, coming through the opening turn. Into turn 2 and 3 and 4, the S's. And he's lost time in that Prema Power Team car. Bought cars on the hards. Micah, we know, started this race on the hards, and Thornburg's also on them. Messian, 2nd track limits warning as they rise up the hill. Almost the wall for Little Buns. And look at the weave. Weave masters. That's what they should call these guys instead of drivers. Just weave masters, keeping it out of the wall. On board with Thornburg. And Salos Kynes, look at the state of his mediums. Kynes getting a track limits warning. Sanchez is sticking it out there on his softs. And honestly, surprised that some of these guys are still in this race, to be honest, with how warm their tyres are. But Sebastian Messian of Spain leads the way. 16% on the KV Racing Lotus of Little Buns. And TJ Davis, he's going to have to do a lot of laps with those mediums. He's having to do 7, close to the back of Marcus Nelson, heading through the chicane. And Messian stays out. Sebastian Messian stays out, and Not You rightfully pulls in. with little Buns Nelson and TJ Davis, but somehow Prema didn't prioritize the Spaniard in terms of pit strategy. That's really interesting, as Mike is going to be second, unless Kui has something to say about it, heading down into turn 1. He's got Thornburg for company. Carson's on the hards, and he'll be able to finish with those hard compound tires. And looking further up front, Messian close to the wall and getting a track limits warning, but he's still in this. Kui and Thornburg going side by side, rising up the hill. Micah right in front of him. No contact, thankfully, unlike what happened with Ericsson. Close to the wall, but keeping it clean for now. Still side by side as they rise up into the hairpin. And Kynes has got a 5-second time penalty for track limits. Kui trying to cover off Thornburg. That's a 10-second time penalty for the Spaniard. Thornburg still alongside. Still side by side. And I think this is going to have to be one that lasts for the entire race, because they are keeping the margins close. But Kui takes second in front of even Milsos Micah, it seemed for a second, but no, Milsos still in front of these two. Kui's gonna have the inside line. He's gonna have to make the lunge. He does lunge, but he lunges a little too late to even try and get past Micah, who's holding him up. As into the pits has come Sebastian Messian. Thornburg is gonna be leading on lap 8 of 13. On board we go with Kui, trying to close up to the back of the Chip Ganassi man in front, but look at the state of those softs. I said it when he came in, that Hyperdrive had signed him onto the 2-stop, and, well, guess I'm right. It's not something that I particularly want to be right about, but I guess I am. But Kui now has got the opportunity to try and close up. Hard turn. He's got a 3rd track limits warning. And Tommy's got a 5-second time penalty for track limits as Camino looks to the inside of him. Not quite able to make the pass. Mike has dropped to 5th. You getting Butler's got a time penalty for track limits. These are coming in thick and fast, so I might not even be able to mention them all. Those did hops over the curbs. You don't want to hop across the track. So we go on board with Sequeira, who gets a track limits warning. He's already got a 5-second time penalty for it. Thornburg leads the way. Tommy is closing up to the back of the Dutch driver in front of him. Looking back with Kui in the 99. Down the inside comes Tommy. Swings and misses for the Revolution driver. Just about kept it out of the wall at the very least, but he's very close to the back of him. And Kui comes in for his second and hopefully final stop. He's going on to a set of medium compound tires for the last 4 laps as Micah comes in as well. Delhi fastest second sector of 30.150. On board with Tommy we go. He's got a 5-second time penalty, but he is still fighting for position. He's getting as close as he can to the back of Thornburg right in front. And he's 0.4 of a second back. Delhi with the fastest lap of 1:16.350. Elliot Delhi in 18th position is Camino, 5-second time penalty for track limits. And for the Revolution team, well, they need some sort of revolution in this race. If you've ever played Mario Party, then we need some sort of Bowser revolution for someone to beat. Thornburg as Sanchez gets a 5-second time penalty. And my oh my, if you're on the softs right now, well, it's going to be a little worrying once you reach the end of this race. As you can see, Tommy softs grained away to no end. Track limits warning for Carlos Kynes, his first of the day. Heads down the chicane, does Tommy. And does he want to pit? He is going to pit. In comes Tommy for Revolution Racing. He's going to have to serve that 5-second time penalty while he's in the pits. He won't be the first one to do so today, I'm sure. Messian for Prema Power Team. You know what? I was going to say that he could win this, but considering that he's on 67% tire wear, I don't think that Messian's going to be able to make it to the end. I mean, statistically, he should be able to do it, but you need a lot of grip for the turns that are coming up. This first one, you need a little bit, but it's really the second one where you need a lot, as Messian gets a time penalty for track limits, and RQ goes so wide, he might as well be in China or Korea or another Asian country surrounding surrounding Japan as Hexel Mark gets a time penalty for track limits. It's probably more accurate to actually say that they're on another Japanese island, because Japan is actually an archipelago. As Carlos Sainz track limits warning second of the day. He's in last place, the field separated by 28 seconds. And Carsten Thornberg leads them all. Camno's been passed by Sebastian Messian now. We expect Thornberg to make it to the end as they start lap 11 of 13 as Camno comes in to serve his second stop and 5-second time penalty. Anokyu heading down the hill, quite a ways off the back of the Spaniard in front of him. And tyres are certainly going to play a big hand in this race too, I'm sure of it. Don't ask me how I'm sure, I just know this is going to be a race where tyre strategy is going to be a big factor indeed. As Messian hops over the curbs, closing up to the back of Carsten Thornberg. He doesn't have more grip, but he theoretically should have more pace as Lil Bunt has gone off the track. The Ukrainian driver for KV Racing Lotus, closing up to the back of Max Bortkar. So we hop on board with Carlos Sainz in front of David Camno. Micah with a second track limits warning. We've only had 2 retirements from this race, and they were both on lap 4 or lap 5 roundabout. As, oh my goodness, Messian's going alongside with Thornberg. Heading down into the chicane they come. Sebastian Messian tries to hold it alongside with the American driver. Spain versus the USA. And it's currently gone to the US on the penultimate lap. Here in Twin Ring Motegi, Thornberg leads, Messian second, but right behind him is that same Prema Power Team driver who we're riding on board with. And the question is, can Sebastian win this? I mean, he's got a time penalty, so he currently dropped behind Anokyu. And he looks to the inside. Can he actually get alongside? He's in front. Carsten Thornberg's been passed. Sebastian Messian leads the way into Twin Ring Motegi. Contact between the two of them. And Thornberg holds on to the race lead by the skin of his teeth. And out of the race has got Lil Buns. Off the track. Spears into the barriers. And a full course yellow on the penultimate lap for the Ukrainian driver. Well, that means that we're going to have a sprint to the finish. For Anokyu, he can actually win this race. And he doesn't even have to pass any drivers for the lead. All he has to do is stay within 5 seconds of Messian. And providing that the fight between Messian and Thornberg stays as hectic as it has been all race long so far, well, there's only really going to be one outcome, and that outcome is not that it's going to end cleanly. It's going to be that Carsten and Messian both collide. So for Anokyu right now, he just has to keep it clean, and he should be able to go for the win. In fact, Anokyu's closing in. Can Power Motorsport get a race win in the ERL INDYCAR Series? Let's find out as we head on to the final lap. Push to pass available and in operation for Sebastian Messian heading through turn number 1. Not close enough to make any sort of pass, but he's still close if he just uses the electrical push to pass, which he does. Both he and Carsten Thornberg, they're both in the danger zone where tyres are concerned, but he is still rising up the hill and 15% tyre wear. Told you he wasn't going to make it too easily. And he almost the wall. Thornberg's got a 5-second time penalty for track limits. This race could go to Anokyu. Very close to the wall. TJ Davis off the track. Time penalty for track limits. As Bortkar sent it down the inside. Puncture for Anokyu. Anokyu's got a full car puncture. He could have won this. I don't believe what I'm seeing. The ERL can't believe what it's seeing. But Anokyu's hopes of winning in Twin Ring Motegi have gone up in a puncture. And that means that Carsten Thornberg and Sebastian Messian, this is the fight for the lead. But for Messian, it's too little too late. 3 tenths off the back, lifts coming through the final chicane, and it'll be Carsten Thornberg for Chip Ganassi, who will take victory in Twin Ring Motegi in front of Messian and Bortkar. What a messy finish. And then RQ still dropping down the order with that full car puncture. I seriously cannot believe what I'm seeing, and it's Sanchez too. Both drivers with full car punctures as Sercarera just about misses him. Elliot Deli's come up to the back and gets past. And yellow's in the opening sector. That's for Devin Butler, who hit the wall at the end of the race. Sercarera comes up to the back and gets past an RQ, and for Ewan Sanchez, as Sercarera sets the fastest lap. For both drivers coming over from the Formula E series. What a disappointing end. And those tyres, they really weren't meant to make it to the end of this race. But this is the podium. Carsten Thornberg takes victory from Sebastian Messiaen, and due to the time penalties, the Danish driver of Marcus Nelson takes P3. What a finish for him. Then it's Niven Colby, Max Portcar and Tommy from Ghosted and O'Quee. Then it's Hexel Mark and David Camno, the point scorers, with the non-scorers being TJ Davis, Milsos Micah, Francis Austin, Devin Butler, Salos Kynes, Elliot Deli, Davi Sercarera, and then Inocu and Daf Sanchez, both with punches on the final lap. The non-finishers were Lil Buns on the penultimate lap, Mickey Ongurovic and Linus Eriksson, who both crashed out on lap 4. And the drivers looks like this, sorry. Max Bortcar leads the way on 35 points, that's 10 more than Carsten Thornberg. Then it's Ghosted, Sebastian Messiaen, Davi Sercarera and Marcus Nelson. Then it's Daf Sanchez, Niven Colby, Lil Buns and Linus Eriksson. Tommy is 11th from Milsos Micah and O'Quee. Then it's Hexel Mark and David Camno, the scorers, with the non-scorers being Francis Austin and RQ, Elliot Deli, TJ Davis, Devin Butler, Mickey Ongurovic and Salos Kynes. In the constructors' standings, heading into the third round of the season in Surfers Paradise, Andretti Green Racing leads the way from KV Racing Lotus and Chip Ganassi. 1 point behind them is Apex Pinnacle, further 2 points back is Premier Power Team, further 3 points back is Hyperdrive Racing, and 1 point back is Sims Motorsport. Revolution Racing is 8th, 8 points behind Sims Motorsport. Then on 8 points, in 9th position is Arrow McLaren SP. Power Motorsport has 1 point on the season, with Dragon Penske yet to score anything. And after that hectic race, we'll see you guys next time then when the ERL returns.